Can you hear me well? Did I just go went live now? I thought I was live before. Was I talking to myself? Okay, never mind. Yeah, just let me know in the chat if you can hear me well. Hello, pozdrav, pozdrav. And if you can hear me well, I will directly start with the analysis for today. We have CPI in 22 minutes from now. So I've been trying to open this demo account, but not successful. Is there too much background noise or it's all good? I can start with the analysis. I mean, even if there is a lot of background noise, I don't think that I can do a lot about it, but I'm trying to activate the background noise reducer. So, okay, all good. Perfect. Then let me start with the analysis so that I can break down everything before the release and share with you what I think will happen today. I wasn't able to go live for NFP because of my internet connection issues, which was so unfortunate because I was right about the direction. And something that I wasn't sure about was if price was gonna respect this low and continue higher. I was anticipating a drop, but I wasn't sure how like what kind of outcome will come from NFP, and if it was going to be much stronger than expected in order to break on the downside. We know that from a higher time frame perspective, if I go to the monthly, we broke on the downside and we've been ranging. We are at equilibrium from this expansion leg. So we've been ranging a lot. We broke on the downside and then we went back in this range. So I mentioned that if we broke this high, we're gonna have a market structure shift on the upside on the weekly chart. So we if we look at the structure here, we see that we had a market structure break here and we started creating lower highs and lower lows. So that's why I said that we're going to have a market structure shift if we see this high being broken. But if we want to continue with this higher time frame trend, we should see, we should respect this order block that we already tested. So the question here was with NFP, if we were gonna continue higher, since the order flow was very bullish, or something will happen and we're gonna shift on the downside. And if you watched my live stream last Monday, like Monday before NFP, I mentioned that I was anticipating to see price first liquidating buy side liquidity because we had only, let me see. So we liquidated sell side. Here is so we liquidated sell side, and this was the candle from Monday. So I mentioned that we took first buy side, we went for sell side, and I was again waiting for price to take buy side liquidity. That's why I mentioned that I will anticipate to see a move on the upside to target the previous weekly high. And afterwards, I mentioned that unless we have a high impact or significant event that will shift the order flow to bearish, I will just continue looking for long opportunities because the order flow was bullish. But with NFP, we shifted order flow from bullish to bearish, and I think that this order flow will continue. Now, we know that today we have CPI, tomorrow we have FOMC. So for CPI, something that might happen, I had to actually start with DXY, but I started with Euro. Something that might happen is price might just continue lower from directly from here, or since we took already some sell side liquidity, we might see CPI report pushing price into this zone here, into another supply zone, as many traders call it, or bearish PDRA, and then tomorrow FOMC might push it lower. But overall, in general, I'm anticipating a bearish move. We can see that price was retracing higher, but not as with the same power and speed as it dropped lower. So that's why I'm anticipating to see some form of retracement and then continuation on the downside. The reason why I'm expecting that CPI might be bullish today is because if we look at pound dollar, for example, we see that pound dollar has this trend line liquidity on the daily chart waiting to be taken. And we are already kind of like approaching this bearish PDRA here. So that's why I'm kind of like 50-50 if we're gonna see a bullish move or a bearish move. So pound dollar is completely ready to shoot down, but euro dollar has already taken some form of sell side liquidity, so it might push first higher and then we might see a push lower tomorrow. But it will all depend on the CPI data, of course, and we cannot predict how the CPI data is. It is how it is. So we will see once the report is released how the data looks like. But from a technical standpoint, let's check DXY. From a technical standpoint, I would anticipate to see some form of retracement before continuation from a technical side. So, sorry guys, I get distracted here. Um, so, we had the market structure break here. We took buy side liquidity, and we have this huge fair value gap. So, I would anticipate to see a bearish move with CPI and maybe bullish move with FOMC. Which are the points of interest? The point of interest is this huge fair value gap or this order block that we have here. If I take a Fibonacci, we're going to see that half of the fair value gap is in discount. So once I see price coming into discount, I would be looking for long opportunities because I definitely believe that DXY will continue the bullish trend, especially with this report from NFP. Unless something crazy happens during FMC that will change the direction, but I don't think so. We had S&P divergence. We never broke this previous monthly low. This is another indication that we're most probably just continuing on the upside. We have a lot of buy side liquidity left to be taken. So this trend line was already broken. We already took some form of buy side. And I'm always mentioning on every single live stream that price is moving from buy side to sell side, from buy side to sell side, and liquidity is in form of swing highs and swing lows and imbalances. So since the most recent liquidity pool was a buy side liquidity pool in form of a swing high, the next should be sell side liquidity pool, which in this case is this fair value gap and this swing low. But does it make sense for us to expect that this swing low will be taken? Not really. Why? Because we have so many areas that might act as support here. Looking at the order flow, so the order flow is telling me that we have support, and it's most likely that price will find support into this fair value gap here and then continue on the upside because this is also confirming the higher time frame narrative. And when you start like looking at the charts, you're gonna like what I'm realizing is that people and even me, we are overcomplicating things. It's just so simple to read and to understand where price is going. Just look at the higher time frame and then drop on lower time frames and try to put everything together and make things align. And what we should be looking for is price creating higher highs and higher lows? Yes, no. Is price coming from a buy side liquidity pool or a sell side liquidity pool? If it's buy side, we should look for sell side. If it's sell side, we should look for buy side. As simple as that. And then we just have to identify the points of interest that might be respected um, for continuation of the move that we are anticipating. And the move that we are anticipating is, or the direction of the move is, in other words, daily bias. And how price will move to in this direction is the narrative of the price. So daily bias is very simple. I don't know why so many people are overcomplicating it. Just a sec, give me a second, guys. I have to put my laptop on the charger. So let me know in the comments. Do you think we're gonna have a bullish CPI for the dollar or bearish? What is your opinion? I had to actually ask you that before I shared my opinion with you. Are you anticipating a bullish move or a bearish move? And what is your reasoning behind it? The only tricky one is GBPUSD. It's not really aligning with what I see. Both DXY and Euro are kind of indicating that we should go for this imbalance and fill the imbalance or the fair value gap that we have here. And if that happens and we see some form of uh, order flow shift on a lower time frame, then I will be waiting for confirmation to look for shorts on EURUSD because I do believe that we're gonna see more bearish move. I'm expecting to see another lower low to be created. But like for short term, we might see price going to fill this fair value gap. Let's see how much technicals will align with fundamentals. For example, for NFP, it was very clear. Like if I go to the 4-hour chart, so NFP happened here. We were just creating this nice trend line liquidity here. So from technical standpoint, even though Euro was so bullish and lots of fundamental experts were claiming that we're gonna see a bullish move during NFP for Euro dollar or bearish for the dollar, bullish for the euro. We did see very very um, a report that was not as expected. That many fundamental experts were surprised by the NFT report that we had last week. But it was definitely perfectly respecting technicals because from a technical standpoint, price was ready for a bearish move. We had this clean low resistance liquidity pull on the downside. Yeah, I agree. I have also noticed that fundamentals and technicals are mostly aligned. I do believe that with technical analysis, you can most of the times predict the fundamental report. Personally, I'm bearish on euro dollar. I'm bearish on euro dollar. Um, like I wouldn't be looking for long opportunities. Like I'm not gonna trade CPI, of course. And I'm not going to be looking for long opportunities because we shifted order flow, we shifted structure, everything is screaming bearishness. So, but what I'm talking about now is more of the report because in order for me to go short, I would anticipate to see some form of retracement, but there is never a guarantee that we're going to see retracement. Price might just shoot down from here. And since GBP is perfectly ready for such kind of move, like we already feel this fair value gap, and we have already entered premium or we are at equilibrium, so it's perfectly ready to move down. Um, so it will be interesting to see the outcome of CPI. It will be it will be most likely bearish. We took sell side liquidity pool. We just took sell side liquidity pool on DXY, which means bullish movement. If let me see, we do have a lot of imbalance on the downside, but we just took also sell side liquidity pool, so we might be going for buy side again. Uh, uh, the way I the way I do my fundamental analysis is I just look at the report and I know what I have basic knowledge in what is CPI, what is NFP, what is FOMC, like how the interest rates are impacting the price longer term. So I would just look at the numbers, and with that, I will know, okay, this is going to have a high impact or this is going to have a lower impact. But I'm not a crazy fundamental expert like Ken, for example, to know the longer term moves based on fundamentals. For example, for gold, we saw a crazy drop that was based on fundamentals um, because China decided not to buy gold anymore. So, such kind of things, you just have to read news and you should think out of the box and understand how something can impact the value of a currency or value of a commodity or whatever you're trading. But I'm not considering myself as a fundamental trader. I'm a technical trader. I'm just looking at technical analysis, and I've seen that most of the times my technical analysis aligns with the fundamental reports. Um, I don't trade news. I have been slipped way too many times, even when I'm right about the direction. So I'm just deciding to stay away from high impact news like NFP, CPI, FOMC for sure. Sometimes I try to trade PPI, but lately I'm getting crazy slipped on PPI as well. So I'm just deciding not to trade on high impact news events, and it's kind of sad. That's why I was thinking to try out futures because most of the times I'm right about the direction of the high impact news, but I get slipped, which I can avoid with futures if I understood correctly that with futures we don't have any spreads, so there is no risk of slippage. Um, but due to slippage in price gapping, I just don't want to trade CFDs during high impact news releases, and I don't recommend to anyone to do that. But if we look at, we're gonna definitely have we're gonna most likely have a bearish move, guys. So if we pay a closer attention, I didn't notice before that DXY already took a sell side liquidity pool. We have SMT divergence between EURUSD and DXY. EURUSD is still holding the structure from the 4-hour chart. We are still in this bearish order block, and DXY already took a sell side liquidity pool, so it's gonna hunt buy side liquidity pool. And another thing that is confirming the bullishness for DXY is pound dollar. It's ready to shoot down. Like this is a really clean and nice low resistance liquidity pool. Trend lines are usually targeted with CPI, FOMC, NFP, and this one is just perfect to be targeted. Looking, yeah, of course, Forex Factory is a must. Even if you're a technical trader like me, uh, you should not trade without checking Forex Factory. You have to always know what kind of news events are, uh, what kind of news reports we have every single day in order to know when to trade and when not to trade. My internet connection is bad. So if I was gonna gamble, I was gonna do this. This is gonna be my trade. Let me check. Yes, this is gonna be my trade if I was gonna gamble. Okay, bullish move. Okay, so my first assumption was correct. I completely agree that, yeah, my assumption was correct. We see now bullish move, and tomorrow we're gonna see a bearish move. So you see, like, it's interesting how, okay, this is gonna be a bad gamble if I was gonna jump into it. Yeah, so I definitely expect price to come to here, and then from here, I'm expecting another bit bearish move, which is gonna most probably happen tomorrow with FOMC. So now we might see some form of consolidation, and after the consolidation, we might come into this area here tomorrow around FOMC time, and then with FOMC, we might push lower. But we'll see what they're going to decide to do with the interest rates. But if it's going to respect technical analysis, which it does most of the times, then we're gonna just continue lower from here. So this trend line is waiting for something else on pound dollar. It's really nice to see how price accurately is respecting technical analysis. I know fundamental traders are gonna hate me for saying that, But um, and I know that many people are now um, talking against ICT because of uh, Robin's cap, if that's how it's called. He's in a drawdown, so many people are like, "Oh, he doesn't know how to trade." But the things that he was teaching and he's teaching, they work. It works. I know that it's kind of like other concepts. I mean, um, what I've seen personally, I've tested so many different strategies, and I know that the concepts that ICT is teaching are actually also other strategies with different names. So let's say if you're studying market structure is something that everyone is teaching, and every single strategy almost consists of market structure. Is price creating higher highs or higher lows or lower highs and lower lows. Um, but apart from that, um, if we think of, let's say, break and retest strategy, um, this is the same as breaker blocks. Break and retest is the same as trading breaker blocks. Um, Another thing, for example, when we hunt sell side like low resistance liquidity in a form of trend line liquidity, this with other strategies break of trend line and shift in direction. So this is for me, yes, low resistance liquidity because I'm used to the terminology from um, from ICT about low resistance and high resistance liquidity pools. But when you look at it from like it's the same strategy with different names, but the logic behind it is a bit different. The reason why I'm focusing on ICT concepts or this type of explanation is because it makes most sense for me. Um, and it helped me to understand better how price is moving. So, for example, the reason why I wasn't when I joined the live stream, when I mentioned that I'm expecting to see price coming for the fair value gap here because we took already sell side liquidity, so now it's time for some buy side liquidity. We know that okay, if we take Fibonacci from here to here, we haven't even made the 50% retracement, and most of the times we see at least 50% retracement or OT retracement whenever we have uh, a market structure break. So putting together all these things makes it really easy to understand where price might head, where price might go to. So let's see if I'm going to be right about tomorrow. I will expect to see some form of consolidation here now, and then tomorrow continuation on the downside. And maybe tomorrow will be the moment when pound dollar will hunt this liquidity here. But pound dollar is much stronger even on the monthly chart. Like if we look at, I mentioned multiple times this balance price range was a really nice support for pound dollar. And it looks like pound dollar will first go for this high and break on the upside and then make retracements down in order to continue higher again, which is not the case for euro dollar. Euro is much weaker than the pound at the moment. But it's interesting. Let me go a little bit back and reflect. So when I joined the live stream, I said that I was expecting this move up. And then you guys said you expect a bearish move on USD. And yes, I'm expecting a bearish move longer term on USD. Uh, I'm oh sorry, what am I saying? I'm tired. I'm expecting a bullish move longer term on USD. But the reason why I was anticipating to see such kind of retracement was just because of the technicals, which means that this is like I have seen so many times that fundamentals are aligning or moving according to technicals. So it's a really interesting debate that traders can have, fundamental traders and technical traders can have. I do agree that fundamentals are the ones that are moving the market. So, for example, NFP report came out bullish for the dollar, which shifted the trend line and which shifted the order flow. So it's gonna have a longer term impact on price. We're gonna see the euro dollar dropping lower due to this longer term impact. But it was also easy to predict that this was gonna happen based on the place where we were at on the higher time frame and how price was kind of like forming. Let me see gold. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna be bearish. We're gonna drop tomorrow. Maybe I should take a challenge, futures challenge, and trade it during news for fun. Um, fundamentals lead footprints on technicals. Fundamentals are the one that are moving the price. Like fundamentals are the ones that are driving price. But it always aligns with technical, so it feels like everything is, I don't know, nothing is a coincidence. It feels like markets are not random, and they are not random because if they were like completely random, we were not going to be able to predict them. They are uncertain, but not random, in my opinion. Okay, gold will move like this. What are you trading? Are you trading euro dollar, pound dollar, forex pairs, or you're trading gold? You're trading indices. I see new people on our live streaming today, except for uh, We Defense and Julie, and I've seen Yarvis before, but I haven't seen Ranish and I haven't seen Bright Can Vibe unless you've changed your usernames. I haven't seen Gabriel before. It's cool to see new people here. Typically, dog interested. Oh, I want to start trading gold. I've been trading Euro USD and pound dollar for way too long time now. Only them. I used to trade US CAD, but I haven't traded US CAD in a while. I haven't traded US CAD in a few months. But last year I used to trade US CAD quite frequently. Hey, Smiley. I prefer the most EU and GU as well, but the reason why I prefer them the most is because I'm most used to them. Like I know their moves. Like I know how they move. I know how they breathe. They're like I see on pairs, like if you watch a pair for a longer time, you kind of start building intuition and you know how this pair moves. Uh, Something that we can notice lately is that your USD is not as correlated with USDs as they were before. Uh, but I know how they move, and that's why I feel so confident with them. It's like dating a person. If you date different people all the time, you cannot get to know any of them. But if you date one person for a longer time, you get to know that person. You start to build like relationship with that person, and that's how it is with trading pairs as well. So I build a very strong relationship with euro dollar and pound dollar. And when I look at other pairs, of course, I can give comments from a technical standpoint, what I'm looking at, what I'm anticipating to see, but I don't feel confident trading them because I haven't been watching them on a daily basis and I don't really know how they move. For example, gold moves uh, moves quite crazy. Like it's very volatile, and euro dollar is not as volatile. So for me, it's kind of like I don't know. I'm not used to seeing a stop loss that is I don't know how many pips. I'm not used to not that I cannot trade it. Of course, I can trade it based on technicals, but I'm just not confident because I don't have statistics on this pair. But in general, like trading is about finding the direction, knowing daily bias, and then spotting which are the areas that are going to be respected, finding the PD arrays. Uh, I what I think is if you know the daily bias, if you put like a few things, simple things together, like market structure, liquidity, premium, and discount, you're gonna be good to go. Yeah, you date and get married. I'm still, I'm mainly dating Euro USD, but I'm cheating on Euro USD sometimes with pound dollar. So I'm not married yet. I don't like cheating though. I'm not a person who would cheat. But I don't find like I don't find it good for the psychology to stick to one pair. And the reason for that is because sometimes I go without, even though like when I have a setup on euro dollar, I usually have a setup on pound dollar as well. So the setups are forming at the same time on those two pairs. Uh, I mean, if we look at this analogy, like trading your dollar and pound dollar, then it's definitely cheating. It's an open relationship. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not ready to be committed. I'm not ready to be committed yet. Maybe if I start dating gold more often, I'm gonna like gold more and decide to be committed and not to cheat. But currently, I I don't feel like. Last year, I was fine with trading euro dollar, pound dollar, and US CAD. I got left too many times from US CAD. I think it was September or August, that period. And I was like, ah, I don't want it. Like, let me just filter it out. I took a couple of losses in a row and I was like, no, I don't really have clarity in US CAD now. So I started skipping my daily analysis on US CAT, and that's how I stopped trading it. Uh, just because I started skipping my daily analysis that I used to do before. And then I ended up just looking at Euro USD and Pound USD and mainly trading Euro USD. Um, but let's say if I'm bullish on bot, I would check Euro GBP. And if I see that one is stronger than the other one, and I'm expecting a stronger move on one of them, then I would go for the one that favors the move the more. More. I've never traded indices, never, and everyone is telling me like if you start trading indices, you're gonna fall in love with them. But I've never traded indices, not even at the beginning of my trading journey. Like when I started trading, I the first days, which was exactly 4 years ago. It was June 2020. Uh, when I started trading, and I started with oil. I was trading oil. I was trading silver and gold. These were the three things that I was trading when I started. Those were the things that I was rotating uh, at the beginning. I wasn't like jumping into forex pairs the first couple of months. I was strictly watching gold, silver, and uh, oil. And my first account, blown account, was blown uh, on one oil trade when I was just scaling in while price was going against me. And then after this painful experience, I decided not to trade oil anymore. So removed oil from the list, and then I started watching only gold and silver. And then my last account that I blew, like personal account, was on the U.S. elections, and it was with I blew actually two accounts with gold. One no, one with silver, one with gold, I think it was. And then the last account was on the US elections. And that was the period when I started also watching Forex pairs. And then I had a period when I was trading all Forex pairs. No indices, no commodities, only Forex pairs. And after I started with ICT concepts, I started sticking to EURUSD, Pound USD, and USD cut, and then I kind of like started this relationship with them. Interesting. So 4 years Forex, 3 years indices. So I should, since I'm in an open relationship, I should start dating other other instruments as well. Maybe I'll find something that will convince me to become committed. Like what I think that the reason why I'm sticking to Euro USD and GBP USD is because I know that we see the OT retracement quite often on Euro USD and GBP USD. But for example, if I when I look at gold, I see that gold is not really retracing. Uh, like we don't have OT retracement on gold often. We see like maybe only not even 50% retracement on gold. We see a tiny retracement into fair value gap and then shooting in the same direction again. And I think that indices, let me actually check, but I think that indices are moving in a similar way. So we have just one directional moves, and I'm so used to wait for premium and discounts and catch those moves like catching the move that way, so that I think that it will take me some time to get used to jump into uh, trades without retracements. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, indices have been bullish for quite some time now. They've been just going up and up and up. Do you even try to catch shorts on such a bullish trend? I would not. I would never do that. I've never traded crypto. I've been investing in crypto, but I've never traded crypto. Gold pullbacks around the equilibrium. For example, here we haven't had a single pullback to equilibrium. It's just one direction, consolidation, one direction. And now we are in consolidation. It looks like we're gonna shift a little bit short term, but I expect just a small retracement maybe to here and then continuation again. Yeah, trade with the trends. The trend is your friend. it's gonna be it would be easy to trade indices like swing trading. I can swing trade indices now without data. Yeah, but many prop firms now have a rule. They're not allowing to stock positions, but you can do that on your personal account, of course. Even though it's always better to just stuck to winning positions to make the biggest gain possible. They count it as improper risk management, which is BS. They just don't want to give huge payouts. No, I'm not in any trades. I'm not in any trades. I'm not trading CPI, NFP, FMC. I've done this mistake many times. I'm not planning to repeat it. Interesting. You trade your personal cap? I mean, you've been trading for a very long time. You've been trading for 7 years, so I believe you have personal capital, enough personal capital by now. And prop firms are not anymore the best place to be at. Of course, the low uh, entry fee is still lucrative, but most of them are in a very unstable situation, so they are not really paying out. We need some cleanup in the prop firm industry before we go back to them again. Yes, I just did quick analysis before this CPI release, just to mention like what I was anticipating, but I can also mention now again for you the overall trend on a higher time frame is bearish. So I'm anticipating to see this bearishness on your dollar to continue. With CPI, I mentioned that we came from sell side, so we are now going for buy side in form of a fair value gap, and I think the price will stop in this zone here, this daily order block, bearish order block. We broke market structure, so I think we're gonna start consolidating here, and with FMC tomorrow, I'm anticipating to see a bearish move from there. Let's see if I'm gonna be right. I haven't checked the like how um I haven't checked the CPI report, but the thing is that Forex Factory was not opening for me because of the internet connection. So I cannot see the exact numbers to know how huge of an impact we're gonna have. But I'm not gonna trade today. I'm not gonna trade tomorrow. I will trade on Friday if I see some nice setups because with news events we see the main move during the news release, and after that we see a consolidation. So it's not worth wasting my mental capital. Oh wow, this move is strong. This move was larger than the NFP move. Does that mean that it will change things? Ooh, wow. Oh wow. Look at this why. Interesting. Well, I would like to see. I'm not gonna actually I'm taking back my words. I would like to see how this candle will close in 2 hours. in order to say what I think will happen in this zone here, in this area. Because the way it's pushing right now is just showing that we might just continue. That's why I don't know if you have heard ICT repeating the weeks do the damage, the bodies tell the story. For me, I've noticed that waiting for being patient and waiting for candles to close is very important because it tells a lot about what prices want to do next. So, for example, holy zone here that I marked on DXY, the fair value gap is supposed to act as support. So, if this candle closes below the support, it automatically becomes inverted fair value gap and is supposed to act as resistance. So that's why it's important to be patient to see what price wants to do, especially with such news events, because we don't know how huge of an impact and how market participants will react on the fundamental reports that we have. When there are no news events, we might see some strong pushes to scare people not to enter, and then quickly go back in the same range. When this happens, this is another confirmation for price continuation. But for example, if the candle closes, hold this fair value gap, and we don't have any, if we close below it, it will become an inverted fair value gap, and it is going to turn into resistance instead of support. Where you guys from? What happened with mine? What? $9,000 to $10,000 for learning technicals? No, 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 no. It's definitely not worth. It's not worth. I mean, if I calculate how much I've spent on courses, I'll spend around $5,000 paying to different mentors for courses only. Uh, when it comes, if I count lost accounts, I've spent another 5,000 ish, more, maybe more actually. But just spending like $9 to $10,000 for one per, if it's like depends on how you like, are you planning to pay someone $9 to $10,000 to teach you technicals? If that's the case, I would say don't do that. Technical analysis is not difficult. Technical analysis is very easy to learn if you give it time and if you don't try to force it and trade it. Just sit in front of the charts and do the work, and you, I guarantee you, you can be a technical expert in 3 months if you put in the work. And just focus on simple things. Focus on market structure. Focus on understanding liquidity, and liquidity is super simple. Like I told you, buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity. Buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity is in the form of swing highs and swing lows and imbalances. If we go, if we have taken a significant sell side, we're gonna go for buy side. If we have taken buy side, we're gonna go for sell side. Just look at the order flow, look at the market structure, look at the liquidity. You don't need anything else. You're perfect with technicals if you master those three things. I have a very detailed webinar that I did with my community. It's a recorded one. If you want, I can maybe post it on YouTube, or I can do another live stream webinar and breaking down like I'm super, super confident with my technical analysis. Like my daily bias, I'm my daily bias is correct 8 to 9 out of 10 times. So my technique, I'm super confident with technical analysis, and I shared with my community what are the things that I'm focusing on. So if you, the webinar was I think 2 hours long, and I definitely mentioned pretty much everything on this webinar. So I can either do another webinar here, live stream, or I can just post this webinar, but not things are not like edited or anything like that. I don't find them. I just jumped on the call and I was just explaining and breaking down part by part for my community. And everything is for free. My community is for free. So maybe I can also give you access to my Discord and you can check out the webinars. I have links to them. But don't spend $10,000 for learning technical analysis. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Please. 10,000 technical analysis is not worth $10,000. You can learn everything for free if you do the work. Who is is it a guru that is asking $10,000 for learning technical? I mean, who the hell is this? Like, I've spent on a course. I don't know if it was the most expensive mentorship was like 3,000 pounds. I think it was, if I remember correctly. And this was the worst investment, but at the same time, if I didn't pay this money, I might not have been that focused on tracking and journaling. Because when I knew that, oh, I paid so much money, I got the habit of journaling and tracking statistics from this community, but I learned nothing else. No, no technicals, no nothing. I just joined this community and I got more bad habits instead of getting good habits and more knowledge. I was scalping so that my fingers were hurting. Like I remember my record week was 73 trades in 1 week. Can you imagine? 73 trades in 1 week and I journaled all of them. I was not even sleeping. I was in the chart 24/7. I was trading Asia, London, New York, everything possible. Which was crazy times. I should make funny reels about those crazy days, early crazy days. Yeah, there's so many scammers, guys. Like, especially now that I've been working with prop firms, I've seen what's going on in the back end. I've seen accounts. I've checked many people. Believe me, what you see online, 98% of it is fake. And there's so many influencers that make it seem like they're really legit, but they're not. I don't want to be exposing people, but it's crazy. It's crazy. I can just say which ones are. I can say that Jade Cap is one of my favorite traders. He's legit. He knows what he's doing. I really love this guy. If you want to like really follow someone, he is someone that you should be following. Jade Cap is um, one of my favorite traders that I look up to. Who is your favorite trader? Another like depends on what we're trading, but Umar Ashraf is also one of my idols. He's just not trading the same thing that I'm trading and not the same strategy and concepts and stuff like that. But don't listen to anyone. Like there's so many influencers out there playing around. And another thing that is funny, like what I do, I don't get any money from YouTube. I just do it because I think it's fun. Uh, But what I find funny is when I check the views on videos like how to flip 100 or how I made 100,000 from $1,000, or how I did this, how I did that, like, or um, strategy with 80-90% win rate, and you just see so many people watching this is just showing how fake expectations people have in the industry. And I don't, from one side, I don't blame those influencers because they just want to make money with YouTube, so they want to make something that people will click on. But it's just mind-blowing how people can believe that something like that is too good to be true exists, and that someone will just show you a holy grail online. You're just wasting time watching videos, filling other people's pockets. I can tell you what is gonna make you profitable. Sit in front of the charts and trade, make mistakes, uh, get this trauma, work on yourself, try to understand yourself, and with experience, you're gonna become a good trader. There is no way you can be a good trader by just someone telling you what not to do and you following it. No, you become a trader by doing all the fucking mistakes that you can do. You experience this pain, you cry, it hurts, and you don't give up and you just keep going and you make mistakes again and then you cry again and repeat and repeat and repeat. And after some time, you're gonna get so tired of making mistakes and you're just gonna say, no, I'm gonna fucking sit on my hands and I'll wait for my opportunities and I'll fucking make it work. And I'm not gonna be greedy and I'm gonna be taking profits on time. I'm not gonna hold trades for too long. I'm not gonna aim for these 1 to 10s and etc. etc. And things are gonna start working. But people have so unrealistic expectations because of social media, and I can tell you the ones that are showing even payouts are people that have spent more money on challenges than what they made with payouts, but they promote themselves as profitable because they have a certificate. So don't trust social media. Don't compare yourself with social media. Jade Cup is the only one that is legit. I can confirm. I've seen this guy, like I've seen his account. I've met this guy in person. That's why I admire him so much. He's so humble. He's so realistic. He really knows what it takes. Um, he's definitely my idol. He's my favorite one. So if I was to start, if I was to learn technical analysis from someone, like even trading psychology, I would definitely go with him if I was about to choose a mentorship program. If I have to go back in time and choose now, I'll definitely pick him, knowing all the things that I know now. Because when I was working with prop firms, I had access to the account, so I could see who's doing what. So you're lucky being here. I'm telling you, this guy is the best, one of the best ones. I don't know trades by Matt. I mean, I know him from a podcast. I'm not watching videos. I'm not watching his videos trading related anymore. I'm just listening to podcasts about mindset, about life. I'm not watching any trading related content. So I've heard that this guy is really good, but I don't have any opinion about him because first, I don't think he was ever trading with prop firms. I've never checked like any analytics on his accounts or anything like that. I don't know him. So it's normal that people put like how I traded $25 to 1 million. Oh, in a day? Oh wow. That's crazy. I mean, people put such kind of titles because they know that majority of the viewers are gonna click on it. People are curious. I would click on this just from curiosity, just to see what kind of how he would tweak it. But I know that it's not realistic to flip $25 to 1 million. those are just clickbait titles that people put for to make money from content and from views. I mean, I'm a person. I don't judge anyone. Like they have found a way to make money, and I'm like that. Like if you do things like if as long as you don't harm others with the things that you do, you can do whatever you want. So if you put these fake like these titles, clickbait titles, and someone is stupid enough to believe that you can flip $25 to a million in a day, then sorry, but yeah, it's not the guy who has put that title. It's the person believing that that's possible who is stupid in this case. I mean, they're all the same. Quantum strategy, they're all the same. That's all like smart money concepts, order block, liquidity, imbalances. Isn't it the same? I think it's all the same. Is it still safe to enter EURUSD on a buy? No, I would not enter now. I would never enter like just like that. I've heard that Matt is a good guy. I've heard that he's a good guy, but I haven't been following him myself. So that's why I can't say much. But I only listen to the podcast that he has with Reese. Uh, so that's how I know about him, and I just heard his story on this podcast. But that's all I know about Matt, nothing else. And I just know that he's tracking ICT's account uh, on Robin's. That's all I know. Oh, I love it too. This is my sister. She's into cooking. She's not into trading. She's she is the best chef in the world. She's making so delicious food. I love you so much. I miss you so much as well. Let's see how okay, the 4 hour candle on Euro closed and we didn't close above the whole fair value gap that we have on the daily. So there is a high possibility that we're gonna oh sorry. Let's see first the daily candle, how the daily candle will close. But most likely we're gonna see this zone being respected from the and DXY is not closing for 1 more hour. So I would like to see how DXY will close the 4 hour candle. Oh my God, I've been here for 1 hour and more than an hour. Been talking so much. But it's a good company. I'm alone here in a restaurant, cafe. I don't know. So I'm having a good company with you guys. Well, I'm not gonna mention my opinion about Kimmel. I'm not gonna say what I think about Kimmel. I can say actually something. He's a good influencer. But I stopped. I used to watch his content a lot back in the days. I mean, I don't want to create. I don't want to create drama or hate. I know a lot of things about the industry. That's why it's better not to talk too much. Another guy that I respect, I want to just share the good things. Another guy that I have a lot of respect for is Andronitex. I This guy is also very honest. He really knows what he's doing. Of course, his risk appetite is different, but that's completely fine. Andrew is also someone who I really admire. I see that Kimmel is joining many roundtables. I mean, he's definitely a huge influencer in the space. I mean, people that are more knowledgeable, they can notice things, isn't it, Smiley? Like when you have more knowledge, you start noticing things. Um, why? The reason I was living in Sweden for like 8 years, and I wasn't happy there. I wasn't happy. The reason why I wasn't happy was because, first of all, the weather sucks. Like, second, the taxes are way too high. Um, and third, like, I don't like, there are things that I like about the life in Sweden, but I would not like I would not like to stay there like long term. I'm fine to be in Sweden during the summer, but during winter it's very depressive. And another thing is like I don't have many close people there. But all my family is in my home country in Macedonia. So I knew one thing. Like before I decided to cancel my apartment, was I wanted to listen to my intuition. Um, it's the happiest country in the world according to newspapers. This is BS. I don't know how people measure happiness. That's an interesting thing. Like, how do you measure happiness? Someone might be happy in Sweden, someone might be happy in Bali, someone might be happy in I don't know where. Like, happiness is so individual because what makes me happy might not make you happy, and vice versa. Um, so I don't know how people can say one place is happiest place in the world and the other one is least happy. For example, Swedish people, when you're in Sweden, all of them are like bitter. All of them are uh, pretty much like closed in their own bubble. They're not smiling. There is no positive energy. Everyone is living their own robotic life. Wake up, go to work, go to the gym, go back home, sleep, and repeat. That's it. For example, here in Bali, even though people are poor they don't have it as good as we have it in many European countries. People are so happy, like, and they're spreading happiness. So I would consider people here more happy than Swedish people if we talk about happiness. Um, but personally, like, the reason why I decided to cancel my apartment was first, I was feeling too lonely. Second, it was so depressive. Third, and one of the main reasons was the taxes, too high taxes. So I was feeling like I don't want to pay 50% of my income to the government. Oh my God, this is a live stream, Anna. But yeah, I didn't want to pay that high taxes. That's why I wanted to just move. And it's just not a place for me. It's not a place like if you are a very ambitious person, um, you might not find Sweden like you might not thrive there because um, Sweden is a place where, like, the more you make, the more you pay in taxes. There is no kind of like a poor class. Everyone is middle class, kind of. So they take from the people that make more money and they give to the ones that are lazy. um, because in Sweden the whole system is made in a way that there are no poor people. The ones that say that they're poor, they're not really poor. Um, they haven't seen poor people, and me, who comes from a third world country, I know what means to be poor, not to have money to pay your electricity bill, not to have money for food. That's poor. But if you consider yourself poor just because you don't have money to pay for a vacation, that's not poor in my opinion. And in Sweden, many people that consider themselves as poor are people that are spending money on cigarettes, alcohol, and they don't have money for vacations and they consider themselves as poor. Uh, but yeah, like it's not a place that gives a reward to ambitious people. You just have to work hard, and you don't really get much for working harder than anyone else. So I'm a person who thrives with development. I'm huge on personal development. I'm huge on setting goals, achieving more, just because I can. And when I'm not in a place that motivates me, I don't want to stay there, because it kind of puts you in a negative mindset and negative loop that it's really hard to get out of. Like, I was getting so many anxiety attacks in Sweden just because my life was not so balanced. If you want to take a break from work, like, where are you gonna go if it's raining outside and it's windy, and people are not as open for communication as they are in many other sides of the world. But for example, here, I can just go out and just talk to the people sitting next to me, and make friends. And everyone is nice, everyone is smiling, everyone is so kind. I decided to travel. Like, I don't know how long time I'm gonna travel. It's a bit hard, of course, to adapt on new environments, new places, get used to new food, get used to the climate, and all of that. So there is a challenge with traveling as well. But am I happier? Am I more fulfilled? Yes, and that's what is most important for me. Yeah, the Western world is like that. Whole Western world is like that. I would prefer to, like, in my opinion, the best is like mix of both. I think I will end up living in either Portugal or Spain, because Portugal and Spain, in my opinion, have uh, a bit of the Western culture, but also people are more warm and communicative and friendly, which is more from the Eastern part. So it's kind of like a good mix, good balance of the both. Uh, for example, Asia is lovely uh, for vacation, for staying here for some time, but I wouldn't like to raise kids here. It's corrupt. It's I don't consider it as safe for to like I don't want to raise kids in Asia, and the hygiene levels are just way below my standards, like in general. So Asia is not for me long term, but I love it for vacation. It's amazing. I I definitely want to go to Sri Lanka. There are many ways to avoid taxes actually. Like now I'm registered in my home country, so I'm not going to be paying much taxes because I'm changing. I'm rotating all the time. I don't have like a fixed address, so my fixed address is in my home country. But by talking to so many people that are into trading and businesses, there are many legal ways to avoid taxes if you want to, with different offshore companies. There are so many different ways. Yeah. Um, which FVG do you prefer? So, how I'm looking at FVGs or fair value gaps, I start always from the highest time frame and then I go to the lower time frame. And usually, I always base my directional bias or daily bias on the higher time frame because it has more weight. Uh, and when you look at lower time frames to find points of interest so that you don't have to put a 50 pip stop loss, for example, or to refine the areas where you might see that might be more sensitive or you might see a reaction from. Let's say on the daily, if we have uh, like hold this is fair value. Now, in this case, we have a fair value gap on daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, all possible time frames. But usually, the fair value gap on a daily, when you go on a lower time frame, you might find an order block within the daily fair value gap or a breaker block within the fair value gap. So I usually just refined the areas, but I mostly look. I make my how to explain it. The best to explain it with an example. So let's say here, let's say price is here. So what do we see? Once this candle closed, once this weekly candle closed, we see that we had a fair value gap here. Now this is a weekly fair value gap. Now I would go to the daily. Do we have a fair value gap on the daily? No. But this is a valid fair value gap on the weekly. So I will be framing ideas first on the weekly and then look for something interesting in the daily. Do I see something interesting here in the daily? I see that we have liquidity pool in form of a double top that is sitting exactly above this weekly fair value gap. What do I see? Something else that I see is this daily order block that we have here. So based on that, I'm framing an idea that price might come, liquidate this double top, tap into the fair value gap on the weekly time frame, and then continue higher. And if I go to the 4 hour chart, we might even find an order block there. This is called a daily order block, or this is a breaker block. So here we have weekly fair value gap aligning with the breaker block, which is confirming that this area will be most likely a sensitive area that we would like to watch for to do business at. So looking at so you should kind of like start from the bigger picture and then refine to the small picture to see which areas are more sensitive. And let's say if you have a huge fair value gap, then you might find the breaker block and an origin block within the huge fair value gap. And then you can just watch price and refine entries within these zones. So it's not that I prefer one rather than another one. I just look at all of them and I'm putting everything together. And I want that lower time frames will align with higher time frames because higher time frames have more weight. They are the zones from higher time frames are holding more than the lower time frames. So that's why I start from the higher time frames and I'm looking for confirmations of the lower time frames that will align. So it doesn't have to be a parallel gap. It can be in the form of a breaker block, order block, whatever. I don't know if that explained something to you or just made you more confused, but it's not about, I'm not trading patterns, I'm trading based on understanding price. So if I was trading patterns, I was going to just look for fair value gaps and place orders on fair value gaps, but this makes no sense. I want to have a narrative, I want to have a story behind my trades. And how I'm building the story is by going on a higher time frame, understanding everything that is happening on a higher time frame, and then going on a lower time frame to understand where the sensitive areas will be. And then once I go to the lower time frame and find those areas, I go back to the higher time frame again to reconfirm which area is more valid and more likely to be respected than the other one. Yeah. Can I show you? Hey, Pradeep. You mean about the daily indicator? I'm only using two indicators. One of them is power of three, and this one I use it when I don't have two screens. When I'm like here on this side, I'm looking at the comments that you guys are writing, and then I have another screen where I'm watching the chart. So when I'm only having one screen to watch the chart, I use this power of three indicator. I haven't adjusted any settings. Everything is default, like as it is, just to see how the daily candle has formed. And then another indicator is ICP true day, and this is showing me kill zones and Asia range in 8:30 price and midnight price. These are this is the second indicator, and I haven't modified anything. Everything is default. How you gonna find it on here? That's how I have it. Nothing is modified. So you can see the reason why. So for example, this is another thing. If I find an order block that is aligning with 8:30 price or midnight price, this is an extra confirmation, and I would prefer to trade out of this order block rather than an order block that doesn't have anything, or an order block that has sweet previous liquidity pool and has 8:30 and midnight price within it. Then this is like giving me even more confirmation and showing me that this zone is most likely going to be respected, because I know that such zones or opening prices, New York Midnight Open price and 8:30 price are sensitive zones, sensitive areas that usually are respected in the future as well. Um, So when it comes to trade example, for example, trade example with the fair value gaps, or you mean like a trade example of any trade that I've taken and why I'm taking it? Okay, yeah. So for example, I can give you an example. Uh, let's say with this trade here, I took this one. I remember, and this is a. So if we go to the, let's say, first weekly time frame, but trading is not going to show us the weekly. I'll just go on daily. The candles are not showing as they're printed. I mean, as they are at the moment when I took the trade. If I go to a higher time frame, it just shows the whole move instead of showing how the candle looked when price was exactly there. But let me give you a brief overview. So, for example, for this trade here, we see that even if I drop on a lower time frame, we had a market structure shift here. Price shifted order flow from bullish to bearish, and I knew that from the last expansion, I was anticipating some form of retracement, so we were in premium. the order flow was bearish. And as I mentioned, I've always asked myself, is price coming from buy side liquidity or sell side liquidity pool? So the last significant pool that was taken was this sell side liquidity pool, and I knew that we are going for a buy side liquidity pool. And this buy side liquidity pool, in this case, was this swing high that we have here. And I was looking for a area that might be respected above this zone. So, so here, price created some form of little trend line, or we had like two swing highs, and this was even a buy opportunity from here, but I missed the buy opportunity, and I went for the sell opportunity. So one, since I know that, okay, we took sell side liquidity pool here, we're in premium, order flow shifted to bearish on a higher time frame, so we have to have to 50% at least retracement on euro dollar, because I know that euro dollar moved this way. So I was looking for an internal liquidity graph and price tapping into a point of interest, uh, bearish point of interest, in order for me to look for confirmation to take to look for a bearish opportunity. So in this case, when I saw price taking this buy side liquidity, and we had this order block here that aligns together with New York midnight price, I was waiting for a lower time frame confirmation, and I took a short. Ooh, oops, sorry. And I took a short opportunity here. So simply what I'm looking at is market structure. I want to see a liquidity graph within a PD array, and then target the external liquidity. So all the time looking at structure, looking at to see like liquidity sweep, and then once I see an internal liquidity graph, I'm targeting the external liquidity graph. That's the way I trade. For example, even like here, this could have been another trade idea, knowing that you're coming from a sell side liquidity pool, seeing that price just liquidated and quickly came back into the range. Uh, I would I could have like entered here targeting this high. But this is gonna come like, now I'm not breaking down everything from a higher time frame to a lower time frame, because I'm not able to show you how the candles look like before, when they are the exact price. If you get my, like, if I'm on FX replay, I will be able to show you that. But on trading view, price is just showing the whole candle as it closed for the day. So that's why I'm not able to like show you um, perfect examples on how I'm framing the ideas. But if you go back to my live streams, like, I've been explaining every single move in details. Like, go check the live stream when the which day was it, when I I mentioned exactly I will be looking for this and this because of this and this. So that's how I'm framing my ideas. You can go back and check my live streams where I'm calling the moves live and explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, and this is gonna kind of like it's gonna be more beneficial than me just going back and hindsight explaining to you what I really do. I'll have to end the live stream soon. Because here is almost 10 p.m. and these guys are closing at 10 p.m. So I have to pay the bill and move my ass from here. My average duration of a trade is 2.5 hours, according to the statistics. But this is for prop accounts. On my personal account, sometimes I hold longer. The best, let me think, like, if you check my live streams, I guarantee you I'm breaking down lots of trade ideas on the live streams, so you can see many examples there. Or maybe you can join future live streams where I'm breaking down weekly analysis, not news release, because news release is more of like chill live stream and waiting for the results of the report. But when I have weekly analysis, you can join, and I will be more than happy to break down and even mention a trade idea that you can see playing out live afterwards. No, currently I'm in Bali. I've been in Bali for like 2 months. I will be going to Vietnam on Sunday. I trade London session in New York. London, yeah, London kill zone or from from 8 Frankfurt Open. I watch price from Frankfurt Open, and if there are setups from Frankfurt Open, I'm looking to get involved in trades. But usually it happens around New York, London Open and New York Open. Sometimes I trade London close, but not here in Asia. It's too hard for me to trade London close because I'm too tired. It's too late here, so my brain is just not functioning at that time. Okay, guys, I've been live for way too long today. I have to switch off, pay my bill, and go back to the villa. So, thank you so much for joining. I hope you had some fun with me. Thank you for making me company while I'm here sitting long. It's always fun to chat with fellow traders. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you soon again. Maybe oh, no, I'm not going live tomorrow for FMC. I'll be sleeping. But I'll definitely do again weekly analysis as I usually do on a regular basis. So if I'm not going to go live until the weekly analysis, I'll see you again Sunday or Monday. Take care and stay safe.